Hi, this is Gazer. Today I'll be comparing jerseys from last season and this season. So Klay Thompson, this one is from last year, and Cousins, this is from 2019 model. Before we get into the comparison, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video. Thanks for the support. So to tell the difference besides the number, it's the Rockton logo that's different from the first one and the second one. So this is the last year's model, 2017-2018 model, 2018-2019 model. So both model is made in Guatemala, and they're both XL. So the neckline, the width of the neck is a little bit different between this year's and the last year's. Last year it was about 10 inches on the width, but this year's model is slightly more. It's about 1/8 more than last year's model. And this part, just like last year, this is last year's. This is this extension part, this line. I remember having this issue. They have the same thing, and as you can see, this one is shorter than this year's. So they extended this curve a little bit more compared to last year's, but this could be just the difference in how they made it, not really the new design or anything. For the shoulder, it looks about the same. Even last year, depending on the model, they had a little variation in the width. And the height of the armhole is about the same. So distance here is about the same. But if I do this, the big difference I see is the back. As you can see, this year's model, it's the same as the front, this curved part, whereas last year's model, it had a lot more space, more fabric on the back side. So if you lay them flat, you see the back piece a lot more. But this year, it's a little bit less. So this will give you extra movement around the arm because there's less fabric. Swoosh looks about the same. They look about the same size, and it also feels the same. I don't think there's any change there. And for the sponsor logo for Rockton, I'm not sure what's the other brand or other sponsors, but Rockton changed their logo this year. This is from last year, 2017-2018 model. And then for this year, they changed it to a little bit longer logo. Let's look at the logo for the Golden State Warriors now. So with the Boogie Cousins jersey, I'm not sure if this is gonna be like this for all of them for 2018 model, but there's a little bit of issue when I compare them. So they're both about the same. The color looks better on this one. The yellow looks a little bit better on this. This one has a slight blue to it. The Golden State Warriors, the name part, it looks about the same. I don't think there's any change in font. But the big difference between this one and this one is for Thompson, this is woven in or colored in. So it's flat piece right here. I think this is just a print of 11 with a background. But for this one, it's a separate piece. So they have a Blank Warriors logo, and then on top of it, they cut this out. Another piece. They cut another piece out and paste it on. So this happens often for custom jerseys. This is a bad thing about the Warriors logo too. Because this logo, or because the number is inside the logo, unlike some of the other team that has number on the bottom, it's hard to mimic to the regular jerseys when we're doing a custom or a new players. They can print these in the team store. So all they have is the blank one, and then they just put it on the top like this. They still have Nike Connect. They are the same. A little bit different design. Some of the place right here. This is the older one. Still has Swingman, NBA logo, and all the information. But this year's Nike Connect, the logo, doesn't have that plus. So you can see it's missing. And the font here is a little bit different too. The Authentics. They're a little bit bigger compared to the last year's model. And the Swingman, I think they're the same. And also this tag right here is different. So this is last year's model tag for the Nike Connect, and this is this year's model. They changed the layout a little bit, but pretty much same information. Let's look at the back now. So from this angle, nothing has changed. Same NBA logo, same type of rubber finish. It's a thin print, and they're flat. They also have the same panel like last year with shoulder. And the armhole looks about the same. There's no change on the back. With the name, there's no change in font or color. They are about the same. And same thing with number. They're the same font and they're the same size. So far not much has changed since the last year's model and this year's model. And this is the side panel. This is last year, this is this year. Let's measure the width. So last year's model was a little bit under 2.5 inches. And this year's model is about a little bit over 2.5 inches. So it's about 1/4 of an inch different from last year's model to this year. So this year's a little bit more wider than last year's model. So this is the side panel from inside. Last year, this year. So it's clearly a little bit smaller on the last year's model, and this year's model is a little bit bigger right here. So last year's back length is 30 inches, including the rib knit. And this year's model is 29.5. So now I'll be measuring the armpit width, and I'll be measuring from this tape right here, from the edge of this white tape to the other side of the white tape. For the last year's model is 24 inches. It's exactly 24. And this year is the same. It's exactly 24 inches. When I line up the side seam, this is also the same. So the overall length has not changed at all. And most of the design hasn't changed either. Let's look at the fabrics. This is this year's model, this one. And this is last year's model. It has the same type of dry fit fabric. There's no change in perforation. They are the same. I feel like there was more difference in last year's City Edition or the Statement Edition. And this is last year's. This one fits looser than this one. So be careful. If you only have these Statement or City Edition jersey, they do fit looser than Icon or Association. So be careful when you pick the size, because it's not the same fit as this. So actually, let's just compare this one real quick with the Bay, the City Edition. The basic designs are the same for the City Edition. And when you compare the neckline, so the City Edition is a little bit more wider than the Icon or Association jerseys. This is a little bit more tighter here compared to this one. This one has better curves. This one's a little bit straighter. So when you lay them flat, it's a little bit longer on the City Edition. So it's unfortunate that they didn't make this adjustment on the Association Icon jersey. So there's not much change has been made since the last year's model. It fits about the same. And if you're getting this year's model, you could get it, but if you could get the last year's model for a little bit cheaper, that might be a better option. Since some of the stores are still having sales to clear up the rack for last year's model, like the Warriors team store. So Warriors still have these model in store. They're like half price now. And since they fit about the same, I would just get these for half the price, because there's not much difference in these. I'll also be doing a comparison on Nike Connect soon, so please look forward to that video. I used it on the first game, used the new one and the older one to see the difference in how they react. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video. Appreciate your support and see you next time.